today, like, so I wanted to talk about, like, you hear so many definitions of games, I've been watching your show a lot. You're hearing about handsome man game, dirty Mac game. There's like red pill game. There's PUA game. Like, what is true game? What, like, because so many people can get confused about what game really is, because all these content, you guys mentioned on your show a lot, like content creators coming up with all these terminologies and everything. And I think it's important that we define this today, because, like, I too got sucked up in all that shit when I was just starting to become good with women, and I didn't realize until stumbling upon your channel and working on myself and with a couple mentors that the game is within you.
Right. Yeah, I think what people got to understand is, like, when it comes to understanding what game is real simple. Is that game is just having a skill or strategy to get what you want out of life. That's literally what it is, right? That's all that is. So the issue is, though, is that the reason why there's so many different people talking about Riz and people talking about handsome man game and all these other things is because when they truly don't understand game, what they do is they try to theorize and try to come up with, sort of something to get them to understand why things are happening. So, for example, let's say a guy who thinks he's handsome gets a girl that he wants. So then he says, oh, well, she must have wanted me because I was handsome, and that's why. So I made sure I got my hair cut and I looked good and I did this and I walked to the event and I saw her checking me out. So then when she was checking me out, she got near me and I talked to her. And then what happened is that now she's interacting me and we're making this happen. So he's like, oh, it must have been because of my handsomeness that I make this go down. So now he's like, oh, well, we're going to, focus on the handsome man game, but it's not really about handsome man game. It's just all game. Everything falls under, the game umbrella anyway. So the problem is that you have a lot of guys out there who are trying to figure things out, but they don't really understand what's happening. So then they just name something, some other thing, to try to make it make sense to them. Do you see what I'm saying? So in that scenario, the girl could have just been attracted to you or thought you were physically attractive. She was checking you out. You came over and approached and you talked. But that's just like any other thing that we've been talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and maybe and that person had the game but then he just kind of defined it as something else. So
exactly.
Like market that and realize, well, hey, I'm going to make some money. So like a guy can go out and comb his hair, put on a nice tux or a blazer, and attract a girl. And sort of dressing kind of makes you feel a little bit confident in yourself, but then the interaction could have happened naturally. I mean, I'm a handsome guy. And sometimes I have, I really, like, I don't attract every girl. So handsome man game doesn't work all the time. I think it's subjective. It's all about, like, your mindset and your way you're connecting with the girl at the moment and everything.
Yeah. And it's one of these things where, people like to overcomplicate shit. So, it's kind of like, if I went out and I was on the street selling, lemonade or something like that, and I made some
lemonade,
they're saying, oh, well, I'm doing, lemonade business. Like, you can say that, but you're just doing business. You're just selling something. You know what I'm saying? So you can name it whatever you want, but the bottom line is this is what you're doing. But because you don't understand what you're doing or what's happening, then you want to name it some other thing to make it more complicated than it really is. So, but the issue with game generally is that what happens is that when you have tight game, it's really about you being able to attract and maintain based on who you really are. You understand what I'm saying? Or what you're really about. Because this is the funny part. So you have, for example, like, even when you talk about the handsome man game thing, you have guys out there who they will, for example, get plastic surgery even though they don't need plastic surgery. You understand what I'm saying?
Are they really getting plastic?
So this guy's out there, they'll get a nose job or whatever.
My God, that's what a woman does.
They don't need a nose job. It's not like their face is all messed up, but they do this to look a certain way. So that's not really how they really looked. You understand? That's what they manufacture to look a certain way. Just like a person might, use steroids or get liposuction or whatever, or do something to alter their physical, but that's not really who they are, what they're about. So
Right. No, that's true.
it's just attracting a certain thing, but on the inside, they're still the same person because they didn't work to get that body. They don't naturally look like that. So it's not really coming from a real place anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Right, exactly. I know, but and you can go out there and you can do this handsome man game and all this stuff. But I mean, if you don't have the mindset and like the structure within yourself, like, I mean, I don't think that, I think that's going to really destroy your game. But I think that the problem is like a lot of people, like they turn to like what society defines as like an attractive guy and someone who has a lot of money, who's well built and everything. A lot of people, like I had a friend who felt the same way. He believed he couldn't be in a marriage or have a girlfriend until he made $2,000 a year.
Right. Yeah, and that's the problem. So a lot of guys they'll think this, and because they think this, that's their mindset, and because that's their mindset, this is why it's hard for them to attract.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is that if you're thinking that I need this money, I need to do these other things in order to get women, then you're not going to be able to get women now, or you're not going to be able to attract effectively now. You see what I'm saying? Because right now you're going to say I'm not enough until I have this other thing, and if you keep saying that, then basically what you're also saying is this thing that I want shouldn't want me because I'm not where I need to be to get that thing that I want. You see what I'm saying? So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy anyway. You see what I mean?
Right, exactly. And I mean, that's going to make a guy like come, kind of try too hard and kind of maybe even give in to women. And like women know that guys are like that when they're weak. I mean, like I remember, I think you were talking about this on your show with Steve yesterday. I always listen in every Tuesday. I know you mentioned that, like, women will take advantage of guys who, they are weak. They don't want a man to like know his true power. And like when a guy has to like, believe that his true power is in like, what society expects of him, that's not the true person. And like, guy's going to spend lots of money on a girl and believe that like, okay, yeah, I got to buy her this and that, without even setting boundaries for himself, and like he'll be taken advantage of. And like it's weird, like because I mean I remember before, like when I started to like not even work, when I wasn't really even working on myself, I would fall for those traps. Like I believe like, oh, I had to take a girl out to dinner all the time, like on a first date. And then I take the girl out and I never see her again. Right. And now I don't take girls out for dinner at all for the first date, at least.
and so and the thing is, guys think they need to do all these things, but also I think you mentioned it was like, to an extent, certain guys think they need to acquiesce to what the woman wants. So they're like, man, I'm not getting things going how I want it to go. And these women out here saying they want these other things, and they're telling me to take them out to dinner. They're telling me to buy them gifts. They're telling me, oh, I'm not going to hang out with you unless we do these things. So guys feel like they need to sort of bow down to women in order to get any type of affection or action from a woman. You see what I'm saying? And the problem with that is that you don't strengthen yourself when you do that, because when you do that, you weaken yourself. Because to strengthen yourself means to stand on what you say and what you're about to do and how you're going to do things, regardless of what is going on with the woman. So a lot of guys will fold and say, you know what? I know I wanted to do this thing, but she said she wants this other thing and I really want her. So I'm going to just do what she says. And as soon as they do that, they've lost. So the problem is you have so many guys out there who are willing to bend for the woman. It's terrible.
Right, exactly. No, and even right now, when I told you how before we got on this call, I got a lot going on and everything, and I still have girls try to take up a lot of my time. Like I'll see them like once a week, but they want to spend more time with me, and I still stick to my ground, and I tell them because they get frustrated with me, and I can hear the disappointment. I can see it, even when I'm in person. And I told him, like I told you at the beginning, I'm working on something for myself right now. That's more important, So, and if you want to hang out with me, you got to understand it. And sometimes they still try to push me to get me to give out more of my time. I had this one girl who I recently had to get rid of because like she would not put out unless I got into a relationship. And I said, I'm not looking for a relationship right now because I'm just busy focusing on myself.
Right.
And yet, even after I told her that, she was still trying to like push a relationship on me.
Yeah, that's what they'll do. That's because, but the thing is, that's their job to do that. They're supposed to do that because that's their agenda of what they want to happen. But as a man, you got to say, hey, this is what I'm doing, and not fold on what you want. So what happens is the woman needs to bend to what you're doing versus you're bending to what the woman is doing. And with a lot of guys, and this is why they have trouble in relationships, is because they're constantly bending over backwards for the things the women want them to do. And the crazy part about it is that initially the woman might like it because now she's like, okay, cool, we're doing this thing that I want, but the respect level is gone. She's not going to see you as a man, and therefore eventually it's going to fall by the wayside anyway. So the thing is that it's always to your advantage as a man to stick to what you're going to do anyway, and only deal with women who are following what you're doing. Because if you follow, the relationship's going to be ruined sooner or later anyway, because you're basically going in her direction, which is going to show her that you're not a leader, that you're not a man that she needs to follow because you're following her.
Right, exactly. Well, the funny thing is, as I, I've been working upon myself and even getting out there, and when I go through situations like this, I'll be honest, sometimes it's, I have to make these tough decisions as a man whether or not to do it. I got to figure out what it is I really got to do, and I have to cut ties with some of these girls, and it's rough sometimes, but at the end, I feel better, but I'm more confident in myself because I took an action that was tough to make. I still staying on the path that I want to do.
Yeah, and the thing is too is that it could be in some cases disappointing because they're like, yo, she seemed cool, I was attracted to her, but at the end of the day, you have to be more attracted to yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
You got to be way more attracted to yourself than you are to any woman. And so once that is happening, then you're never going to really put a woman before you and before what you're trying to do. And there's too many times where guys are more attracted to the woman. So they're like, man, well, I want her. I want to get her. I need her. I want things to go down. And so they're willing to disregard and disrespect themselves to get the girl. So it's like, it's this cycle that these guys win. And then what happens is that when the woman notices he's on some BS, she bounces, leaves him. He's upset. He's distraught. He's feeling low. Then he gets with another woman. And because he doesn't have that strength to stand on what he believes and what he wants, he's going to bow down to her. And the cycle's going to continue. It's terrible.
Right. No, it's funny because I seen people who've gotten, I have a brother, I should say, who's in a marriage right now. He's already tried 3 times to get a divorce, but he always comes crawling back to her. And it's really destroyed him. He lost his job because of it. His health has been affected by it and everything.
Right.
And I'm glad, even though I might not be in a marriage right now, I'm glad that I have awareness and sanity, and just being, and it shows a lot that, I have the willpower and confidence to if I don't want to be in a situation with someone, I don't have to be in it, even that's what gets you through those tough times and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And you gotta stand on your shit because at the end of the day, see, this is the thing. So what happens is guys think they are winning because the woman is there. It's not enough for the woman to just be there. She has to be there on your terms. If she's not there on your terms, even if I don't care how hot she is, I don't care if she's having sex with you, I don't care what is going on. What happens is that there's still a part of you that is not satisfied because you knew that you gave up part of who you are in order to acquire her. You see what I'm saying? It's just like getting with a woman by lying. Like you got her, but you know that if you the only reason she's there is because of the lie. So which means that a part of the truth about you is not in this situation. So then therefore you're never really completely satisfied consciously because you know that you didn't necessarily attract her because who you are wasn't present because the lie was there. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
And that's
exactly.
the thing that people don't understand is that there, and because the full truth isn't there, right? What happens is that it perpetuates the idea to yourself that you're not good enough, which again leads to more of the insecurity, you feeling low, and then you continuing to acquiesce to what the woman wants. And the reason why that happens is because you don't actually believe that a woman would follow who you really are, which is why you lie and manipulate in the first place. You see what I'm saying? It's terrible.
Right. No, and I mean, even sometimes when you do have that confidence in yourself, I mean, sometimes it's hard to get a woman to follow you, and you just gotta learn. Those are the ones you don't want to deal with. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I've learned. Like,
And sometimes
I've learned, that when I've had women who followed me, it's been a lot more enjoyable. Like, a lot more enjoyable, not just the sex, but interactions and all this other stuff compared to the ones who don't want to be there. And I would not want to force myself upon, to have a relationship or have sex with someone who's not even going to enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Most guys will still continue to push, even though she's not interested.
Yeah, and sometimes women won't follow you because, one, that just shows they're not interested. But two, there's times where a woman is interested, but she can't follow you because she doesn't believe that she can live up to your standard.
Mm-hmm.
Part that a lot of guys don't recognize and realize is that sometimes you're with a woman and because just like how, for example, a guy may say, they see a girl across the room, they think she's hot, but they're too scared to approach her, right? Mm-hmm. That fear of being rejected is there, which is why the guy doesn't approach. The same happens for women. When a woman is dealing with a guy, the fear of the guy rejecting her on the back end is scary because she's like, well, I like this guy and he expects me to do this, this, and this, or to be about this, this, and that. And I don't believe I can do that. So I'm just not going to deal with him in the first place.
Right.
And so a lot of guys don't understand that that's also part of the game too, where there's part of it where she has to not only want to, but she needs to know that she can. And if she doesn't believe she can, then she won't. You know what I'm saying?
So can some women reject themselves? Say like they met this gorgeous guy, but then they just feel like they don't deserve that. Could they reject themselves and say, no, yeah. That's very interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to take both perspectives of it. That's interesting.
The same way where guys stop themselves from approaching beautiful women is the same way where women will stop themselves from dealing with a masculine man. Because remember, if a woman is used to dealing with guys who are weak, dealing with guys that don't require anything of her, dealing with guys who are going to give her the world on the first and second date, guys who are going to give her a bunch of attention. She's like, why? She's not ready, or she's probably thinking, I can't deal with a guy who's going to expect me to work for his attention.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She's not that. She's going to be like, even though she may be attracted to him, the fear of not measuring up is always going to be in the back of her head, which is why she stops doing it. Because this is the thing. There's a difference between believing and knowing. So you can believe, right, that you might not measure up. So the woman could believe, you know what? I don't even think this is going to go down how I expect because I don't think I'm ready for the type of energy he expects from me, right? She could believe. Right. That's one thing. So when she believes it, she can just walk away and keep believing that. But to know it is a different thing, because knowing it is scary, because knowing it means that she actually does deal with you, and then she realizes she can't by experiencing that she really can't. So now ends up dealing with you, and then she's like, fuck, I was with this guy who was the ultimate type of guy I wanted to be with, and I failed. So now she knows that she can't do it. You see what I mean? So it's the same thing for a guy. Like, if he sees a hot girl, he's like, damn, I believe that she's not going to want me. But then if he goes up and approaches her and she rejects him, now he knows she doesn't want him. Oh, it's scarier than to believe. Do you see what I'm saying? Because it means that it's the truth. This is actually happening right now. Like there's no refuting what's happening. So when you believe it, it could be, okay, well, it could be true or it could not be true. It could not be true. But when you know, you're like, shit, I've done it. So now I know. And the thing is that people are scared to make the move because making the move means that now you will know. You see what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. And they don't want their egos to get bruised and everything. But I think that's, that's what you got to do though. You got to go out there and, take the interactions and get bruised. I think that's how you become stronger, and it doesn't bother you, but also it helps you enhance your social skills with women, and you can be more attuned to social like how she's interacting, if she's basically by her actions and the way she, her body language is. You're more in tune with if she's interested or not. But I think with anything in life, you got to take some sort of chance in order to grow from that, and it's hard, for some people to do that because they, they don't want to. Either some people just have major egos, or they get stuck in their comfort zone. And they're just like, fuck it. Or, or maybe, they have that belief that, hey, I can't get a gorgeous girl like that. So then why bother even trying and everything? You know what I'm saying? And, I just learned, like, you got to just go for it. Like, like I've been reading a lot of stoicism, been into stoicism lately, and just kind of letting go and just being with the moment and not caring if this turns, if something good happens or not, but looking at it as a learning experience.
Yeah, and the thing is that you gotta go out there and experience so that you can also learn. Because the thing is that if you are too scared to make a move based on worrying about the outcome, or believing that the outcome is not going to be the type of outcome you want, then you rob yourself from learning a certain lesson or learning something that can help you grow as a person. So even when we talk about game just in general, is that one of the things that makes your game tighter is the experience. And so you have so many, for example, a lot of guys online who don't actually have experience. So they come up with theories that they believe, but they don't actually know what's going on out there. And when you're actually out there, you start to realize, recognize, and know, because you're really out there in real life, and you start to see the patterns. You start to see like, oh, okay, like I know that this happens based on me doing this. Right? And unfortunately, what goes down is you have a lot of people who, because they don't have experience, they're listening or paying attention to other people who don't have experience tell them how things are. But it's like the people who do have experience know that the people who don't have experience are just talking shit, because they're not really out there doing the things. Because if they were doing the things, they would realize the stuff they're talking isn't really how it really goes down. You see what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. They're just coming up with like some sort of conjuring some situation in their head and theory in their head, and because they're not really talking about what they're preaching about what's going on in reality, because they're not even doing a damn thing about it. And so, because so we go out and do it about it and learn from it.
Right. Think about it this way. So let's say if you saw a person who was rich, and that rich person bought 7 cars and two private jets or whatever. So the person who is as rich as them, or who experienced life being a rich person, being a business person, having that amount of money, they would understand why they bought those cars and the private jets or whatever. Now, the person who isn't living that life and who has never experienced having that type of money, and having that type of money based off in a business, would say, man, you see these rich people, they just buy a whole bunch of crap. And why do they, and they buy all this crap because they are trying to show off, or they're, insecure and all this other stuff. So that's what the person's theorizing, who doesn't know. The person who just looks at it and from the outside looking in. But the person who experiences says, I know why he bought all those cards, because I'm also rich, and I bought this, and that because I want to write it off on taxes. Do you see what I'm saying? So that understanding of writing it off on taxes as a business expense, no one's going to know that unless they're experienced being a business person. You see, business people understand why that other business person did it. The person who's not a business person think they're just doing it to show off. You see what I'm saying? And because they're not experiencing being a rich business person, they're not going to know why that's actually occurring. You see what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. No, I hear you. But you know, another thing that I think, you know, in game helps with is like just being able to deal, because you come across a lot of like jargon and everything in society. And plus you're bad, and plus you're going up against people's, you know, thoughts and perceptions as well.
Right.
It's just having that awareness and everything. I mean, just going out there and just doing and taking action,
Mm-hmm.
even if nothing, you know, at least you took, if so, you approached the girl and nothing happened, at least you can say, well, you cannot live in regret for not trying to see if that girl would be interested in sleeping with you, right?
Right. Yeah, you just want to be able to do what you do so that you can actually see the results that you're getting, and also be able to, like, say that you have the courage and confidence to go and talk to that girl or go after what you're trying to do. You see what I'm saying? But again, people, they let fear stop them from making the moves that essentially is going to show them where they're at, but also help them grow. You see what I'm saying? Because the thing is, it's funny because you have so many people who they believe certain things based on how they view themselves. But the reason why they believe certain things based on how they view themselves is because the view they have of themselves is from a place of not having the experience. So if I don't have experience doing a certain thing or being in a certain circumstance, then I'm going to say, well, I believe that I can't be in that other circumstance. But the only reason why I believe I can't be in that certain circumstance or situation is because I've never had the courage to put myself in the situation to actually see if I could, make it happen. So
Right.
you have guys, they're scared to talk to girls. Oh, well, these girls out here don't want to talk to me. Well, how do you know they don't want to talk to you? You're not even going out to talk to girls to see how many girls don't want to talk to you or do want to talk to you. You have no idea. And the problem is that they think no girls are going to want to talk to them because of how they view themselves right now. But of how you view yourself a lot of times can shift based on you putting yourself out there in order to experience those situations so that you can
Right, exactly. Right, and I really like what you said there about, like, the way you view yourself and stuff too, because that was one of my challenges coming from, like, like I said, 35 years. Well, minus 10 years when I was 10, I didn't really give a fuck about girls, but just 35 years of just like going through a bunch of negative BS and not really having dating, and maybe only having like maybe two sex partners through the entire year. But when I went on my journey, that was one of the things I had to battle with, and I still every once in a while get that. But you have to remind yourself, hey, that's in the past. You're in the future. Be in the present. Like that was you in the past, and look and reflect upon what you've done so far to kind of get you back in that state of mind and everything. Because I even have talked to some people who went to got some coaching from some guys and everything, and then like they went back into their old ways of thinking again because they just gave up on themselves. You know what I'm saying? And it takes like determination. Again, again, this is another part of the game, like determination and just adversity, just to deal with all the adversity that you might face on your challenges to becoming successful. But even then, you're going to grow from that as well.
Right, exactly. That's the thing is that you can't really gain and you can't really grow unless you really take time to put yourself out there. You see what I'm saying? So because if you don't put yourself out there and you sort of stay in the same space or same place, you're just going to be in that same place and you're going to have the same ideas, thoughts, feelings, and perspectives. And so the thing is if you actually are, taking a chance to put yourself in a different position, then you'll get different experiences, which will give you different perspectives, which will give you thoughts, and then will actually basically change your view of yourself. Because you're like, oh, well, I had no idea I was capable of doing this, but now you are because you're in the situation doing the thing you thought you could never do. And the problem is that so many people hold themselves back because they're thinking, well, I can't do this, or oh, this girl's not gonna like me, or this situation's not gonna work out, or this girl's not gonna want to be interested in hooking up with me, and all these other different things. And it's coming from a place of ignorance. It's coming from a place of lack. It's coming from a place of, I'm just basically I see myself this way because I've always been in this situation and in this spot. So it's why I tell guys learning game is important, because what game is going to teach you, it's going to teach you how to see different sides of yourself that you've never seen before. You know what I'm saying? That's how it works. You know what I mean?
Exactly. No, I agree with you. I would have never thought until I started working on myself that I could actually take a girl home on the first date. I never, I was always afraid to be sexually escalate and kiss a girl. I swear to God, I was like that up till I was maybe 36, 37, when I was working on this. I had no experience in that, but what you're saying, going out there and putting yourself in, getting the experience and actually taking the risk and doing it, that's really going to help you grow and see the world in a different perspective. But you're not going to be able to do that when you're letting your negative beliefs and fear hold you back. And you can really, it's amazing what you can do when you start to learn game and actually grow your game as you're moving forward. It's like never ending, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that you're just showing yourself through experiences, the depths of where you can go. You feel what I'm saying? And then what it does is that because a lot of times guys talk about building the confidence, right? And that's one of the things that can build your confidence. It's the recognizing and experiencing you being in certain situations, accomplishing certain things, and going in certain directions, so that you're basically telling yourself like, oh, I'm doing things that I never thought I could, or I'm having experiences that I never thought I would have. And then so what happens is that when you're, just like you said, hooking up with a girl on the first date, there's a lot of guys that think, oh, that could never happen. I could never do that. And only guys who are this way can do that, or only girls who are like this are going to do that type of stuff. And all of these thoughts that's coming from their limited experience. And because this is the thing, it's easier for you to believe you can't, right? Because believing you can't takes no effort. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, I would like that. Go to sleep in it. I want my head on the painting there. I got lazy.
Nothing to believe you can't. He's just like, well, I just can't do it, because then now it's like, okay, well, you can't. Then you don't do anything. You don't move. So it's like I can just stay in the same place and say, I can't. It's never going to happen. It's not going to work. And so once you say those things, it just leaves you at a standstill. Right. And then when you can actually say, you know what? Let me go and see what I'm made of, see what I can do, see what I can make happen. And then what happens is you're able to, get to that certain point.
Right, exactly. Well, I know that I'm kind of, with my business, even though it's a different topic, like right now I'm taking on more projects while working full time. And I got an assistant who can help me out. And I'm challenging myself. Like I've got probably 5 projects in the work and 4 retaining clients on top of that. I'm not working full time, and I want, I'm just testing the boundaries to see what I can handle. I'm making it happen so far. I'm thinking, oh God, I'm crazy. Why am I taking on some extra work? But I just want to see what I can do so I can grow my business, so I can eventually, take that leap and leave my job and everything.
Right, exactly. That's what you got. It's just getting out of that comfort zone. So a lot of people, they're in that comfort zone because thinking about doing anything else outside of that is scary. And this, it's funny. I remember there was times where, I would, for example, I would get even there was times where I was like, you know what? Let me go out to a bar and just chill and be outside and be in the surroundings of people and women and all this other stuff. And I would go to the bar, go sit down, just get a drink by myself, chill. And then all of a sudden there'd be a girl sitting next to me and another girl over here. And we just, you know what I'm saying? We just get in a conversation. And then those conversations, the stuff we're talking about and the back and forth that's going on, it's, you know, it's things that I'm saying in the conversation that I didn't even realize what I said until after I said it. Like I'm watching myself say cool shit in the conversation.
Uh-huh.
Almost outside myself, like, damn, I'm a smooth motherfucker in this. But the thing is that I would have not known that unless I took myself out my house, went to the place, sat down where I sat, and put myself in a situation for that to occur, for me to show myself what I can do. Do you see what I'm saying? And
Right,
so
exactly.
that a lot of people lack in the game is their the knowledge that they acquire is not going to happen unless they actually take time to put themselves in situations for them to learn that. Because I always tell people, I said this a million times, is if you're watching anyone, including myself on YouTube, right? Or any TikTok, Instagram, whatever, any social media platform that's giving you information, we can only give you so much information, meaning that there's a part of your learning that has to occur by yourself. You understand what I'm saying? Because the experience that you have is going to give you the ultimate knowledge, and it's going to teach you what no teacher outside you can teach you. You see what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
Oh, you have to.
Right.
You got to experience it.
No, that's true. Yeah, no, and that's definitely good. No, so I remember like you always. It's funny you said this, and this is how I knew you were cool. When you always quote the movie. Remember The Last Dragon? You know,
Mhm.
and then you always say the truth is within you and stuff. You know,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the guy's like looking for the master and everything. I watched that when I was 9 years old, man. And when you mentioned that, I'm like, holy shit! I didn't look at it that way.
Yeah. It's funny because it's basically because in that movie he was looking for the master, and then throughout the movie he's searching and searching, and then he finds out that he's the master. He is the master of himself. The truth is inside him. It was already there the whole time.
Yeah.
And the problem is that people don't understand that about themselves. And so what happens is that they're constantly looking for outside validation and constantly looking to get more money, look a certain way, have this type of situation going on, whatever they think they need outside of themselves. And then that's why they're constantly running, constantly chasing and going around in circles and never really understanding that everything that they're chasing was already inside them. You see what I'm saying? But it takes for you to stop and recognize that. And part of recognizing that is the person basically going out there and doing what they do so that they can confirm to themselves that they're actually that person that they're looking for out there. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's like the thing. This is the thing that confuses people is that most people are trying to, for example, right? Let's say we're talking about game and we're talking about like, hollering at chicks or attracting women, all this other stuff. Most guys are trying to find, money, status, looking a certain way, anything that they think is going to get them women,
I
right?
do that all the time. It drives me crazy, by the
Right,
way. I
right,
have all my friends, oh my God.
right. They're trying to get all these things. But what happens is that once you are really out there doing what you do and interacting and making things happen, right? Once you start to really do this in real life, go out, meet women, talk to women, date, hook up, whatever the hell it is. Once you start to do this, you start to realize that even though you have the money or you got the status or you got the looks or whatever it is, what you'll start to notice is that the the biggest thing, the thing that is above all of that is who you really are. You understand what I'm saying? That's above all that stuff. And you'll notice that as you're out there doing what you do, because then you're going to be like, wait a second, whether I have money or not, I'm still capable of attracting what I want. Whether I have status or not, I'm still capable of attracting what I want. And in matter of fact, you realize you never even needed that in the first place. The thing that made you think you needed that in the first place is because you didn't recognize who you really were. So you thought who you really was nothing. And once you realize who you are is everything, then you realize that you don't need any of those other outside things to make you everything, because you already were that. You're just starting to recognize it through actually embracing yourself, and you're playing off the outside. Because that's the thing. You play off the outside world, but you do not need the outside world for you to recognize who you are. You understand? You're just playing off of it to understand. It's like, for example, I can go into look in the mirror, right, and see me, but I didn't need the mirror to know I was me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So off that, like, oh yeah, that's me in the mirror, but I didn't need it. I understood I was me before I even got into the mirror. You see what I'm saying? I could feel it. I already understood it. You see what I'm saying?
Right. No, that's
Right.
crazy. No, and that's true though, man. And like, I mean, because like once you do have you have an understanding of yourself, and you're confident with who you are through the actions that you've taken, and you learn to accept certain things, like nothing's gonna affect you. And like you can still go up to a girl and have an interaction, and even though you get rejected, you still have game because you challenged yourself to overcome all the things all the bullshit that was going on in your mind, and you gain something from that, and you just keep on. I think like even and that just levels up your game or confidence, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and it just prepares you for the next situation. And eventually, like the more you grow that, like and plus it's understanding you, and like that, and that's also like when you understand yourself, you learn how do you communicate to women and everything to show them that you're interested. So, and that again, that even when you do that, you got to test that out, say certain things, talk like you're saying, talking smooth, and just see what works, and then just continue like with that.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what you just got to constantly just put yourself out there, and have that relationship with yourself. You see what I'm saying? That's really all it is. It's really just you having a relationship with yourself. Even when you're dealing with the outside world, you're really just having a relationship with yourself either way, because you're having a conversation with yourself. When you approach that girl and you get rejected, okay, how did that feel? How am I feeling in this moment? What could I do next time? When I'm talking to another girl to make a certain thing happen, or to try to make something happen, and should I do this or do that next time, or whatever. You're constantly checking in with yourself and having that conversation and relationship with yourself by interacting with the outside world. But is that you're recognizing that you're strengthening yourself by doing that, but then realizing that it's the strength and the power and the attraction and what makes you that guy is coming from in here. It's coming from inside. It's not anything that I need to get in order to make it happen. You understand? Because all it was is I'm recognizing how powerful I am through me experiencing. You see what I'm saying? And that's the thing that most people don't get. And see, the problem most people have been conditioned to think that who they are is nothing. So this is why you hear guys, well, you got to look smacks and be the best looking guy, or you got to be a Chad or no woman's going to want you. You have to make 6 figures and be a high value man or no woman's going to want you. You have to have a certain status or no woman's going to want you. You have to look somebody say, so you're constantly bombarded with all this nonsense. Then what happens is that
all the time too, even in my life. So it's that's game there, just trying to tune it out. Sorry, I had to say that.
What happens is that when you start to recognize that a woman loves you and is about you, and let's say even obsessed with you or attached to you based on you, you know what I'm saying? She likes your dirty stinking drawers. You understand what I'm saying? Because she's about you. Then you realize, well, wait a second. It wasn't about my status or money or any of that stuff, because what she's attracted to is something I have that nobody else on the planet has. And that's my unique identity. Shout out to Masculine Identity Membership.
Yep, there you go.
My unique identity. No one looks like me, talks like me, acts like me, sounds like me, fucks like me, nothing. You understand what I'm saying?
Because you're your own self. You know who you are and everything. Yeah.
Right. And so people, all they need to do is live in the knowledge of that, and then they're fine. You know what I'm saying? And that's what having game is about. It's about understanding that, because once you have that, then you have that skill and strategy to know exactly how to get what you want, because you are that person. You are who you are. So you get
Right,
what
I like that. No, that's true.
you know what I'm saying?
No, that's true. And you can bring that skill into, like, when you realize who you are and you want to get something in life, you can bring that skill not just with women, but money and, doing other stuff you want to do in life. It's true,
Right.
man. I agree.
Exactly.
So, well, hey,
Yeah.
Locario, thanks for coming on, and doing this podcast. And be sure to tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, definitely. You guys can hit me up at on Instagram at real Mr. Locario. Also, make sure you guys go to badboymembership.com. Also, go to masculine identity membership.
Yeah, don't forget that.
And go to mrlocario.com and check me out there.
Okay, rock on. Well, thanks for coming on, and yeah, definitely like to have you on again in a couple months. Always a pleasure talking with you and everything. Like I said, I think they need to have more YouTubers like you, because you clear away all the confusion. And even when I found you back in 2018, I know it's pretty late, but no, like that's one of the, because I was always into the whole mindset thing and understand.
Right.
When you're saying yourself, my dad kind of brought me up on that. And that really, when I came across your content, it gave me a new perspective on things.
Right.
And it's even funny, listening to some of these callers who call into the show and everything, how they, how you guys challenge their beliefs, and too, because they come in with a lot. I notice you get a lot of calls about, like, you can't get women if you're ugly, or you got to have money. And it's just, and it's really cool that what you're doing, which kind of inspired me to, start the podcast. I was doing, because I originally this was going to be a motivational thing, and then I decided, well, I've been on the self-development journey with women and stuff, so I'm just going to do this, and get other people who I thought really can bring some valuable content, and who are, like, not toxic to, people who are trying to understand themselves and everything.
Right. Now, that's what's up, man. I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, rock on. And be sure, guys, to check out, my website, commandyourconfidence.com. And you got the book, The 5 Pillars of Self-Confidence, on there, which I actually sold one copy a couple of weeks ago. Hell yeah. How my marketing is paying off. But yeah, check that out. And, if you want to do like a small, short consultation, just come, book one on the website. And Locario and I will be back again in a few months to give you some more kick-ass tips to level up in life.